Yeah. Yeah, we're in. I got the Ultras. It's,
Duracell.
we're back to the Zoom.
Oh, you were talking about the beers. I thought you meant the batteries.
The Duracell.
I think they might be Ultra
Ultras. I know. We're back to the Zoom, not the Zoom online thing, but the Zoom recorder.
We're back to the land.
It's a back to the land kind of feel.
Get myself free.
Is that more
man.
of a? I was actually a bit nervous when I said back to the land, referring to Joni and Carole King and stuff, because like obviously I was thinking Woodstock, back to the land, get my soul.
So
free.
was I. Yeah.
But it is kind of more of a Northern California, San Francisco counterculture beat movement, isn't it? Like as a thing, the back to the land thing. It's kind of a bleaker vibe,
I guess, but like most of those people aren't even from there anyway.
It's kind of a Don Carpenter,
Bleeker's
Brodigan.
from New Jersey.
Yeah, it's a Brodigan thing.
You can wind up there. Anybody can
listen.
get back to the land, brother.
Set my soul free, So yeah, we're back on the Zoom recorder. That's what I meant.
Well, you were saying that you thought, interestingly, that we did a few podcasts through some of your
Universal Audio,
pretty expensive audio equipment,
Yeah.
Preamps and such, and that you found that there was something lacking.
I listened back
In the sound.
to the last episode, the Patreon episode on Tapestry, which, is definitely the best episode we've ever done, easily. So anyone who's not on Patreon,
It's the only
is
one
listening,
I remember. So
Yeah, I was in a hot air balloon when we did that one. Anyone who's not on Patreon, you should subscribe because it was really good. And we're just going to try and recreate this now, but it won't be as
well, no,
good.
I just plan to phone in all the Wednesday episodes from now on
100%,
and kind of save my energy.
Yeah.
Like a tiger saving his energy for like a Sunday at Augusta.
Oh, yeah. 'cause
I'm
you've
just
been
going to kind of
watching
shoot, shoot park, kind of couple birdies
telling
through
me
the
about,
week.
like, his,
then
like-
come Sunday, the Patreon's on Sundays.
You're going to put your red jacket on.
Like a toreador, man.
Yeah.
Like blood red shirt on.
We're talking 6-figure nights in Vegas.
You check your morals at the airport, man.
Joni had a Vegas phase, right? With Jaco Pastorius. Another one of her lovers. Long list of lovers.
Amazing.
But that's... I think that she actually starts the... I'm wondering if it's like, is the kind of Ashram Swami like delivery, that kind of beat stream of consciousness, like stuff. Obviously with her it's never a stream of consciousness thing, but the delivery that you start seeing starts on Blue, I think, of this kind of like traveling, that kind of thing.
I just think her delivery, her singing changes on that album
Forever,
because it goes from like her really folky,
Yeah.
super high pitched stuff that
Yeah.
I love,
Kind of
but
buxom.
you can't listen to it all day.
No,
The early ones, but
like
I love it.
songs for sea,
Yeah.
or like clouds.
Yeah, but it's beautiful.
Even Ladies of the Canyon,
But
I
Blue is really, she kind of settles into her voice a little bit in the same way how Dylan did in the early 70s, and it kind of mellows out a bit. And they're just like, I'm just going to be a singer now, kind of.
Blues.
Uh-huh.
Bluer than blue,
Yeah. Funny you said that you cried 8 times listening to
Yeah.
Blue over on the way here, because I only cried 4 times last night when I went for a run and listened to it.
Well, that means I'm half the man you are.
I don't know.
In terms
I'm
of
just
masculinity.
more just talking about how we both cried a lot,
I mean,
and
there's
how we're
several
both
reasons.
broken inside. And Blue is somehow the most gutting, like song to song record to just put on and just like.
I go back to something that Bleeker said when we were doing Astral Weeks, which was that we don't allow ourselves to, as older people, just like in our 30s, we don't allow ourselves to feel those emotions that we did. Like I used to listen to Blue and like want to cry, be like 18, 19 and be like, I welcoming that kind of existential, or visceral feeling of emotion towards something and sort of marvel in it. And it made me like feel like I was alive, or like I was important, or there was some kind of relationship with this music. And that could have been to do with it existing in a an impenetrable place for me because it was like, I'm in England, but I think that everyone has those sort of records. But I do think that now, like even the idea of the song River, like, it's like so sublime. Mm-hmm. It's a sublime moment of like songwriting, of interpersonal relationships and songwriting. And I like even just wince at the thought of the song. I know I'm going to go as soon as the piano starts.
It started up and I was like, oh God. And I'll tell you right now, there were two lyrics. A lot of it got me listening to the record. Yeah. We're gonna get really into this record, obviously, talking about it. But there were two lyrics. I obviously know all the lyrics, but there were two lyrics that, for some reason, when I've been running lately, I think there's something about like you're expelling a lot of energy. And I don't know. I've been kind of breaking down a lot more. It could be the kind of whole COVID-19. Kind of isolation, and these emotions and thoughts. It's that just these beautiful emotions. Yeah, these beautiful expressions of human emotion. Just really just hit me really hard in those moments. But the two lyrics that got me were in All I Want, the first song, which to me might just be the most gutting and beautiful version, sad love song that I can think of. But the lyric that got me was, I want to have fun, I want to shine like the sun, I want to be the one that you want to see. I thought that was so something about that was I
want to knit you a sweater.
I just know what that
write you a love
make
letter.
You feel free, obviously, to want to make somebody feel free while also having them be yours is such a crazy thing. No, but it was I want to be the one that you want to see. Like I know that feeling, like you just want the person you want to be that person to everyone. And the other lyric that got me that was so crushing was in River when she says, he tried hard to help me. Okay. And he put me at ease. Because it was so sad that she's completely blaming herself for everything. It's devastating.
It's Graham Nash too, eh? River.
No, that one I read was James Taylor, fully.
I don't know. You think so?
It's both. It's her baby she gave up.
Not that song.
Yeah, I made my baby cry.
You think that song
I always heard that line was that.
I think she uses the word baby a lot on the record, almost every song. I mean, Little Green is definitely kind of on that.
Of course, that's all about the baby. Yeah. But I always felt that the way she said that line was about the baby, but then...
I thought it was about her running away from Graham Nash's relationship. Kind of Our House era Graham Nash.
But also James Taylor ended the relationship with her.
Well, apparently,
that's
maybe the
why
only
I
one.
Made my baby say goodbye. And that's why she's saying I'm so hard to handle. I'm selfish and I'm sad. But just the way that she completely takes ownership of all the mistakes is something about that is, I don't know. It just really got to me. And I was reading this great thing about Chris Christopherson that he listened to the record and he turned to her and he was like, Jesus Christ, Joni, keep some stuff to yourself.
Well, I was wondering about that specifically about Chris Christopherson saying that. Actually, just before we go there, I just shout out, we got a few new patrons. I just wanted to just say Gia and Julie, you guys, really appreciate it. You heard Tapestry, and I like that. And welcome aboard the Rock and Roll Club. We're all going to settle to heaven one day, but
all access.
But we got a lot of stuff to talk about before we get there.
Before we get where? To Rock and Roll Heaven?
Yeah. We got a lot of things we need to sort out.
I still don't know whether I'm going to get there, dude.
It's kind of like Lost, or like you need to go through that stuff like the TV show. It's like, and then you finally, it's like, what took you so long? We've been waiting here for you. And that'll be Elvis and stuff.
I think that's a pretty exclusive club, man. I don't know if you have made enough records to get in there.
They were jamming the other day. Why were they jamming again? Someone go there recently?
Up in Rock and Roll Heaven?
Who went there recently?
Phil Spector.
Well, I mean, do you think he went there? I'm not sure if he's up in Rock and Roll Heaven. I mean, if it's just based on your talent, which it seems to be, he could be.
Do you think there's a Rock and Roll Hell? And if so, who else is there besides Phil Spector?
John, the Mamas and the Papas guy.
John Phillips?
He's probably in Rock and Roll Hell.
Yeah.
Spector is producing.
Yeah.
John Phillips is there.
Yeah.
I mean, we could... This is a point of contention.
I know. I'm trying to think of who else might be there.
Like Buddy Holly?
Like
who's the guy?
Buddy Holly? No
who's
way.
the guy who like looked? No, not Buddy Holly. Who's the
Jerry
guy?
Lee Lewis?
Jerry Lee Lewis is there.
Potentially,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the guy who's like stared at women in a bathroom. James Brown might be there.
Chuck Berry.
Chuck Berry might be down there. It's probably pretty sweet.
Because you've never heard, when you see the Rock and Roll Heaven portraits,
Yeah.
you never see Chuck Berry
No.
and Jerry Lee Lewis.
No.
You know what I mean? It's often like
Yeah.
Prince, like a lot of, but
Yeah.
you don't
It's
see
the good guys.
You don't see the
No,
bad guys
you
in the
don't.
picture.
No, they're down.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet, dude. Bonham.
What about Michael Jackson, man?
He could be down there.
Yeah.
He's too big to fail, though.
Jury's still out on what happened with all that, but it's not looking
I
good.
don't know if you saw that TV show.
I didn't see it.
The jury's not out, man. The Jesus Juice thing.
Well, he's down there.
Yeah, he's down there.
You know what?
Finally doing a Spectre record.
You know what else I'll say to that?
Yeah.
If there's a rock and roll hell, well, you know they got a hell of a band. It's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's true. It's true in that case, too.
It is. I think there's
probably a lot of,
hell
like-
of a band down there.
If there's a rock and roll hell, they got a hell of a band.
Yeah.
Man.
They got a heaven of a band. That's how it would work. You'd have to do it. It's a switch up.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, with Chris Christopherson, like when he said to Joni, like, listen, you gotta keep some of yourself to yourself, don't put it in there. I was just wondering if he was like, because she was kind of a top shagger. She was screwing them all, right?
Which is really funny because our friend Sam Vom Cruz.
Yeah.
After we spoke the other day, I was listening to a Chris Christopherson song, and I sent it to him.
Yeah.
And he was like, "He's the top shagger."
Oh, Chris Christopherson.
Yeah.
Oh, big time.
Which is funny that
But Joni was the top shagger, like
Right.
hottest. He might have been the hottest cock in Hollywood at the time,
Right.
But she's in
Or
relationships with
Nashville or New York.
like
or
Crosby, Graham Nash, James Taylor, Sam Shepard.
I really like Chris Christopherson a lot.
But I'm just wondering if he was what his motivations were as a top shagger for saying, like, Joni, you should leave some stuff to yourself. If he was just worried about kind of not like getting Me Too'd, but like people knowing it was him. Maybe he was like, leave us out of this because I've got a girl. If he was more just like,
no, I think that was
just making sure that
songwriter.
You don't think he was worried? Like, listen, I just want to make sure I'm not the guy in River. That's all, or like actually, like it'd be more like Hajira, like Coyote,
Interesting, yeah.
Maybe he was just concerned, like about like just leave us out of it, leave our tryst out of
or
it.
He's like on the next record.
Yeah,
once we've done our thing, leave me out of it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
he's more of a kind of
he knew
backdoor man.
He knew where it was going. Yeah,
yeah. He's more of a backdoor kind of guy. That was my thoughts on that. So, at least that's where I'm at.
I personally, I think Christopherson as a lyricist is right up there. I love his songs. So I just think he was kind of like, look, you can do all this stuff and still like save a little bit of yourself,
For me, maybe even.
No, just like, because, Joni, that hurts putting that all out there like that, man. She talks about it.
Yeah,
and she says, that she loves that record because there's no filter.
No, she's like the cellophane on a packet of cigarettes.
Exactly.
I think she said.
Yeah.
Obviously, Joni's never really done many interviews as an artist. There's only a couple because it's just the same
Either that or
quotes.
we just both read the Wikipedia page.
Well, I just think I've always wanted to go up to the Sunshine Coast, kind of seek her out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've heard her health is very poor.
Well, I think she's down in the States anyway, but
splits her time, I've heard.
Yeah, well, that's what Black Crow's about on Hajira.
Mm-hmm.
That and doing coke.
I love
Black Queen.
When I was looking at some of the accolades of the record.
Oh yeah,
I had to laugh about some of the terminology we were talking about, like the way men.
Oh, dude, it's
talk
really
about
good.
the album.
Well, all the people writing reviews in music journalism, certainly, the ones that I saw were clearly dudes trying to figure out how to place this, like kind of sweating, sweating bugs, being like, I don't want to get this wrong or something.
Yeah. One of the accolades it received that I loved was that NPR voted it the best album of all time by a woman.
Yeah, that's good.
Which I thought was just a bit kind of like, you know what? Like,
yeah,
that's
I don't see gender, man. So,
but it's just kind of like, it's like, it's really good.
Yeah.
Amongst all the records, that women.
Well, it'd be like number 3 all time, I think, or something. I mean, those lists are problematic. Because
that's
how
what
do
I'm
you
saying.
put like Biggie and Joni in the same like?
Well, but I just think that like it's just funny to do a list that's just the best albums of all time by a woman.
I actually
it's kind of like we'll do a
it's kind
special
of like
list
how
for
it's
you.
kind of like how you can't read anything about Joni Mitchell without her being compared to Taylor Swift.
Or Bob Dylan.
Well, Taylor Swift because they're just like blonde singers, songwriters.
Right.
Like there's like no other connection other than that. And just like they write songs and kind of have blonde hair. That's it. My favorite thing I read was that being like much like basically said like Blue was a great record. I can't remember who wrote this, but it was like comparing it was like there are records in rock and roll history that cannot be spoken of without the muses that made them. Love, unrequited love.
Right.
And said that the only other record that really holds a candle to Blue with regards to like it not being able to be spoken about without the muses that define it was Derek and the Dominoes' Layla, which can't be spoken about without Patty Boyd being referenced as the kind of the fire that created it.
Right.
And also like that they're on par with each other, these two records, that are like in a similar world,
And considering that the only reason we're even talking about this record is because we needed to talk about a good album after doing the shit sandwich that is Layla.
That really finished us
other
off.
assorted love songs.
It finished me off. Yeah, that was kind of it for me for a little bit.
As I was digging and on all the top lists that this was on, mostly I found it would be, by a woman for some reason, considering it's
she is a woman.
Yeah, but like for me it's top 20 albums of the 70s no matter how you slice it.
It's I'd go top 5.
I don't care.
Top 5 all time,
Yeah, that's
top 10. Let's say top 10. I'm going to say it's like in my top 10. Easy.
It's up there.
And it's also the like highest of a woman.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't know. I just find that I know what you're doing, but I just for some reason I find it funny. Like it's just a great record. Like I don't know. Like you don't need to do a separate ranking. Why? Is it because there's so many records that don't make the top 500? Like you know
it's
what I mean?
It's a male-dominated genre.
I guess, but like
rock and roll.
So they're trying to include like Kate Bush, Hounds of Love that might not make it.
That would make it.
Like if you did a 500 all time,
that's in there for sure. But I know what you mean. Maybe
I don't know. I get it. I guess I get it. I just thought it
also
was
like maybe it's talking about like the energy because it has like with just the ladies at the Canyon kind of feminine cats in the studio.
Well, I hope
Schwammy energy.
I hope so. It just had a weird
kind
energy.
Kind of candles in the afternoon.
But then I dug a little deeper and I found
Persian
a Pitchfork list, which is always
nice.
Which is always, as George Harrison says about Neil Young's guitar playing, good for a laugh.
I can't believe that.
Good for a laugh.
Yeah, well, we can talk about that.
But Pitchfork, whenever I find kind of anything they write, talk about, rank, I always have a great old chuckle. I'm
really into ranking.
And
systems.
they ranked the top 100 albums of the 70s.
Yeah.
And Joni Mitchell's Blue was number 86.
Really?
And I had
what's above it? Go through some. Can you pull it up, dude?
I'll pull it up right now.
Pull it up because I'd love to know a few things. I mean, listen, this is a democracy, and we've seen in the last, with the wretched events on Capitol Hill that, freedom of speech is the most important thing, and democracy prevailed. So I respect that Pitchfork might think there's 87 records that came out in the 70s better than Blue, but I'd love to hear a couple.
I mean,
go to like what's 86?
Okay, I'll tell you what 86.
Clap your hands, say yeah.
What cracked me up about it is that the list is like so hipstery.
Oh, I
like,
love
it's
it.
like the kind of lists that you would recite if you were just trying to impress at a bar
And I've never been
trying
there.
to make a new friend.
Yeah.
Or impress a woman or
Yeah.
a man or anything, and you'd be kind of like, yeah, blues good.
Oh,
But
well,
I'm
actually,
a
you know
lot
what?
more. I'm a lot more into the Man Machine by Kraftwerk.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah, they're hard to put in a list together. I mean, I'm thinking what I'd be interested in is there a Joni record higher than it?
No,
Have they put
that's the only Joni record on the entire list.
Really?
Yeah. Wire 154 is above it.
I mean, it's the different time. I guess it should be like 68 to 76. This list.
Well, that's
would
what
make
I'm
more
saying.
sense,
But what cracked
because once
me up,
Punk's in there, new
Bowie's
wave,
got
7 or 8.
yeah. But what cracked
But
me up,
Low's got to be top for him.
Okay.
Or Heroes maybe.
So this was the hilarious part is I went through it and Alex and I were talking and I was like, here's to tell you what kind of list it is. Dark Side of the Moon is number 71. You know what I mean? They're like, yeah, it's good.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
You know.
But have you heard Metal Machine music by Lou Reed?
But it's got absolutely nothing on Future Days by Can.
Oh wow.
You know? Number 56.
Jackie.
You know,
Jackie Leibniz.
And it's like it's that kind of list. Steve Reich, music for 8 musicians.
Nice.
Right above
Got any
like
Cage in
Cosmos
there?
Factory by Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Oh, they're in there.
Yeah. They
Consistently underrated, CCR.
Yeah. Oh no, they. But I
Keep
kept,
going. This is fun for me.
Yeah, I know.
We could
Marvin Gaye, "What's Going On?" 49.
We could
which for me,
we
that's
could probably soak up about.
that's way up there for me.
Yeah, we could soak up about 10 minutes here going through this. I'm enjoying this actually. Can we do it for real?
Marvin Gaye, 49. What's Going On?
Okay,
seminal album, but
Yeah.
in Pitchfork's opinion, absolutely, it's got nothing on the Specials by the Specials.
Oh, Ghost Town, that kind of vibe. Well, it's political. Like, so it's kind of like, it's, I guess, in a political sense, it's like black emancipation versus multiculturalism
Sure.
in an urban environment.
Whatever you say.
Yeah.
Fleetwood Mac Rumors, when we've done on the pod here, 41.
Respectable.
Pretty classic record. Yeah,
Tusk's got to be above it, surely.
they enjoy it,
oh, Tusk might be.
but they
80s.
certainly don't enjoy it as much as Suicide by Suicide.
Yeah. Suicide once played a show in London and everyone, like 3 people went and everyone I know said they were there. It's kind of like.
I saw, what's his name play last year in L.A. I walked into Zebulon.
Yeah.
And the show was on. It was
Well, there
awesome.
you go.
But these
No, I'm
records
into
that I'm
this.
talking about are all great.
Yeah.
But I just think it's such a kind of
God, let's keep going. I
one of
really
those
want to know
lit-
what's in the top sort of 20 here.
okay. Yeah. Let me skip ahead.
So
a bit
Joni's
here.
87.
Saturday Night Fever 34.
Very respectable.
Yeah, but,
surprised that they put that up there.
Oh, definitely.
That's
yeah.
kind of like when you're like, when you say that something that's bad is good to be contrarian.
Yeah.
You're like, no. Saturday Night Fever is my favorite record, but you can only set that up by saying like, yeah, Metal Machine music and like Jam Deck,
like
my second
there's
and 3
2 or 3 Wire albums above it though.
above Saturday Night Fever. There's 3 Wire albums in the top 20.
Wire, Pink Flag,
Pink Flag,
22,
yeah.
and this other one.
Is Joy Division going to be in there? Isn't it?
Oh, I'm sure.
Unknown Closer.
Top 10.
Yeah, Unknown Pleasures.
It is. Yeah.
Closer. It'll be closer.
And Chairs Missing.
Can I try and guess like the top?
Yeah. So
10?
this is what I was going to is that I guessed the number 1.
You did. Never mind the bollocks.
Alex guessed the artist,
Okay.
and then I said, "Oh, and it'll be this album for sure because it's like a Pitchfork." Like Greenpoint, Brooklyn.
What, like Modern Lovers or something?
No. Okay, hold on. Let me get. It's a really bad list. I have to go. It's
Like
one of those page by page.
Transformers up top, Neil. Really up there.
Okay, I'll
Television.
do the top 10 for you. Hey,
Go from 10.
top 10.
Okay.
All-time albums of the 70s according to Pitchfork Media.
Oh, dude, I'm into. But I
Number
kind of want. I
10.
kind of want to try and. No, go on. Yeah.
Number 10. Brian Eno, Another Green World.
Oh wow. Really?
yeah, not
That's
even
far out.
in my top
Taking
2 Eno
Tiger
albums.
Mountain.
Yeah. Or Here Come the Oranges.
Ambient.
Number
works.
9, Joy Division, Unknown
Okay,
Pleasures.
that makes sense. Manchester being wrapped for sure.
Number 8, Gang of Four, Entertainment.
It rules.
It's a very new wave, punky.
It's a new wave centric record.
Yeah, list.
Why did they do the start of the 70s in it? What's the point if it's like all
late 70s?
Yeah.
Number 7, Led Zeppelin 4. Kind of a stock choice.
Like, yeah, a little bit. That's the kind of stuff that you put in to be like, pretend. Like, you can only put that in. It's like for shock
like,
value.
You can't deny that.
Well, it's just like being like, Sgt. Pepper's. Like, obviously. Like,
I would have done Dark Side in that position.
That would, if you were trying to impress a girl at a bar.
And you were
I would have probably, I'd have gone like, Unknown Pleasures, Entertainment, that's fine, I'm into it. But then I would have been like...
And then just right back true to form, number 6, Kraftwerk, Trans-Europe Express.
Oh, 100%, yeah. What about this year's model? Is that in there?
Like, according to them, What's Going On by Marvin Gaye is a piece of shit compared to Kraftwerk, Trans-Europe Express.
I mean, yeah.
Okay. Number 5.
Yeah.
Like, and I also called that this would be top 5.
Okay.
Because I just knew... Blood on the Tracks, Bob Dylan.
Well, yeah.
Because I just knew they'd be like, well,
apparently,
we
like,
have to.
Tangled Up in Blue was him listening to the record Blue by Joni so much that he got tangled up in it.
Did you read that by Mark Richardson of Pitchfork Media?
No, I think I read that on the Wikipedia, but...
Number 4. Kind of obviously like a cool choice.
Yeah.
Like if you're just like, kind of like, hey man, I'm hit.
Oh,
I'm with it.
okay, let me have a go.
Yeah, this is kind of like 70s. Okay,
it's
here,
like
I'll
something
give
like,
you a hint. So 71 counts.
Oh, I was thinking of like a Miles Davis record, Bitches Brew or something.
No, but
like On the Corner. Like
no,
I don't know,
those are both
like Kind of Blue. No, In a Silent Way.
No.
Okay, hang on. Let me fucking Headhunters.
No, it's not Miles Davis or Herbie Hancock.
Okay, like John Coltrane or something.
No, number 4. Sly and the Family Stone.
Oh,
There's
okay.
a riot going on.
Yeah.
Got a cool.
Yeah. It's kind of a cool guy. No Gil Scott, though.
No. Well, I'd laugh my ass off if that was number 1.
That'd be
Number
cool.
3, you'll like this, but like obviously not top 3.
I'm kind of into Sly, though, right now. You know, kind of Sly guy.
Yeah. No, but this is like, it's like...
So
honestly,
where are you at? Which
this is what
bar
you'd
are you
say.
at?
It's like, you know what? It's like this record is
Honestly.
easily in the top 3, but not that many people know it.
Yeah,
That's to say, it's like not nearly enough people know it. Does not get the credit it deserves.
And
as one of
honestly,
the
like, it's
greatest albums, not even 70s of all time.
And it's kind of our secret.
Yeah.
Like,
And
you know what? Honestly, if you come back to mine, I have it on like 180 gram.
Yeah.
We can go back to mine. Like,
I've even learned how to play a lot of the guitar solos.
I won't try and have sex with
I'm
you without your
giving you hints
permission.
right now. I'm giving you hints right now. I've even
Marquee Moon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Number 2.
It is good, actually. It's really good.
It is number 2.
It is like a very new wave centric, kind of CBGB centric. We should get we're gonna do all the Laurel Canyon stuff. Then we're gonna do the Summer of Love Hey Ashby scene, and then we'll get into the CBGBs kind of vibe.
About it all.
Yeah. Oh, I love all that shit.
Here's one that makes a lot of these kind of bullshit.
This is
lists.
number 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Clash, London
Oh,
Calling.
it's a good record, man.
Yeah, but it's not fucking top 10.
So that's the punk's taken care of now. So number 1 isn't punk.
Well, it depends what you consider punk, buddy. Anyway, Alex called the artist, and I called the album.
Okay. Like a Bowie record?
Yeah.
Bowie 70s? Please say it's not low.
It's low.
It's not low, dude.
Low.
That's the number 1 record.
Is that not like the most poncy?
Yeah, that's
green
amazing.
Point, like kind of like there's just no denying it.
There's no denying it. Actually,
This is what it says. Exhausted from his fame and the excesses that came with it,
Yeah.
David Bowie decamped to Berlin in 1976.
This is like how the person speaking would.
Yeah.
No, they'd be
As
like a
he
David Frick guy.
As he detoxed from celebrity and controlled substances, he righted himself by immersing in art.
Wow.
Striking up a collaboration with Brian Eno.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, it goes on. There's a good,
Actually, we could go back to my house and play Oblique Strategies. I don't know if you've ever played that. It's we could go back to mine and like I have the
all
cards. I have
all
the cards.
versions of Music for Airports.
Yeah, we can
1
listen
through
to
5.
that, and we can play Oblique Strategies.
Field music, John Cage.
Yeah, that's kind of my thing.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
might not be your thing yet, but you've got time to learn from me.
you can learn from me.
Learn from me.
Yeah.
I won't have sex with you without your permission. Well, this.
Anyway, I was just like,
this is a great. This is kind of a great segue.
I'm just like
from
86?
Joni. Come on,
I'm like,
Expo 86.
give me Joni with the dulcimer.
Oh,
and
appellation, please.
Over half that fucking shit.
Listen, I read a thing that compared. I thought this was cool, and then it said other records that are kind of similar in terms of like dealing with sorrow as the phenomena of like sorrow in human relationships.
Right.
And it said the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds. I was like, okay, sure. Yeah, fine. Big Star's Sister Lovers. And I was like, okay, now you're stretching it though, but I'm into it. And then the Eels Electroshock Blues.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the Eels are in? The Eels are good? Like the Eels are good? Like the Eels are good? Like the Eels are good? The Eels and Joni? The Eels. I don't know.
You know, the album that got me like continuing to read that Pitchfork list was like, it was like number 38 or something. It was like the Beach Boys' Surf's Up.
Oh.
I know, it's just like, it's such a classic. Like, it's just like, honestly, like, yeah. Oh, you like Pet Sounds? Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
No,
yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm, actually,
Darkness.
I'm more into
Brian at his
sandpit cocaine, Brian.
Brian at his best. Wasn't even really in the studio for it, but
Didn't
Brian
write on it.
at his best.
Yeah. Brian is best. He's in his sandpit. He's shitting in a sandpit at this point, and he's doing cocaine. Dennis is coming over with McDonald's fries for him every day. That's all he'll eat.
Yeah.
That's
until
kind of
Mike Love beat him up.
Yeah.
You know what I love to think about, like the crossover in LA.
Yeah.
Of all the people, like I don't know if Joni and Brian ever hung out.
I mean, this is all from.
But I heard an amazing story.
Is this a kind of Vamps v Folkies kind of story?
It's it's kind of a. I don't know. There was a party, and I heard this story that at one point there were all these famous people. They're vamps, folkies, hippies, bikers, everything.
Hippie ravers.
Yeah, and at one point, Neil was seated at the piano.
Was George Harrison there? Hope not.
No, and Roy Orbison came and sat
the big O
next to him.
Yeah.
And then Joni came and sat.
Yeah.
And the three of them sang together. Mm-hmm. And the guest at the party said, you wouldn't believe how their three vibratos sounded. It was the because you know how all three of them have that.
Yeah.
And apparently it was just like insane.
We don't own those chords or those notes, but when the three of us sing together, it sounds like nothing that's ever been done.
Yeah. So
I do this all the time. Trust me.
listen, I do this every night with your son. What BPM are we at?
We're at about 120. So in case you go down or something like,
Not really a folky. That's kind of more of a disco BPM.
Yeah.
We just have to change equipment here, folks. We just, we always thought it was going to be the batteries that were going to do us in. It turns out it was the SD card.
Yeah.
But we
SD
didn't lose anything. So all of that Pitchfork stuff, we're going to keep it in. And you guys are just going to have to sift through
if
it.
You can believe it.
Yeah.
That was actually first take.
Yeah, it was like kind of a jazz thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how's it looking over there? So do you feel like
great
what are
to me.
those levels? I like how on this interface I kind of light up sometimes.
Yeah, like I don't know, you might have to do a little bit of mixing here. Who knows what the levels will be like comparatively to the Zoom? I don't know.
You know what's interesting?
Do you put it in pretty hot to the Zoom or what?
Yeah, no, I don't. No, I don't.
I've noticed in your recording that you actually come in at kind of a low level.
Really?
Like when you did the Shiloh stuff.
I kind of like to leave the master.
Just
the master engineers like a lot of headroom.
Well, and also you're just like sparing yourself any fear of like
clipping.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you
So I
clip
think this is
on
actually
a-
coming in at kind of a James Younger sort of a minus 6 dB kind of place.
Yeah, I think it probably is. But it's also good because it's like we talked about like how I preferred the Zoom portable recording preamps to my Apollo Twin, and now we're testing out this like Focusrite thing. We can really, for you listeners at home, like if you want to just kind of do like a shootout, like kind of one of those YouTube shootout videos of like where you're trying different interfaces for fidelity. I mean, would be a perfect one. Maybe I'll just throw at the end a little bit of.
Well, I'll tell you right now, buddy.
Yeah.
In my personal opinion, I've only been engineering music for about a year now.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you right now that I bet it sounds exactly the fucking same.
Yeah. Well, that's the difference between you and Spectre.
Pro or not.
Spectre. I read earlier that Phil Spector's the Ramones record, because we were talking in the week when Phil Spector died about like how all his records in the 70s were shitty, and then we realized they were all really good.
Yeah.
We started being like, well, the only one that's good is like Death of a Ladies Man, and it's like, no, actually that Ramones one's pretty good, and that Dion one, I mean that
The Dion one's really good.
yeah. And I was reading about the Ramones end of the century, and it was like cost $250,000 to make it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that a lot?
I mean, it feels like a lot for a punk record.
Like, it's so funny because I'm reading, for a punk record for sure.
Yeah.
Because I'm reading.
I mean, maybe if you're
in my
in the
Nilsson
Killers,
book, like,
it's not.
like the John Lennon one that they did like 7 years earlier, it was like 2.5 million was sunk into it.
I mean, Geffen famously on Asylum was giving these guys like millions. Like, if I can only remember my name. We should do that record. That'd be a good one. Because we're kind of in the Laurel Canyon scene, and
Everybody's there.
everybody knows this.
What were you saying
nowhere
about Stephen
there.
Stills playing guitar on Carrie?
Well, he plays bass on Carrie.
Oh, bass.
And it kind of, I listened to it knowing
Kind of
that.
a Cajun
and I think
Moon,
kind of
J.J.
Kunkel's
Cale
on
kind
it,
of
right?
feel,
Your
yeah.
boy.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the folky scene.
The Kunkster.
The Kunkster, as he was known,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
I certainly would have called him if I was around. Well, we were talking on the last episode about like the kind of vampires v folkies scene. We're talking leather pants v linen pants.
Rockers, folkies, hippies, bikers.
Yeah.
It all goes into the
Mod
same
rockers.
thing.
Yeah, it's all the same. Lennon Harrison. Interpretations of love.
Yeah, until we heard about how George Harrison hates
With a
his
vitriol.
words, his words, not mine. Hates Neil Young's guitar playing.
Told Bob Geldof it after
There's a
Art
video.
Weld.
We'll put it in the show notes.
You guys are just gonna have to find it, but
There's a video.
well, if you Instagram messages, we'll send you the link.
Yeah, George didn't know the camera was rolling.
He's in with Geldof and Dave Stewart.
yeah.
90s, presumably.
I'm trying to think of who sent it to me so that I
Mike.
can thank them. Oh, Mike.
Yeah,
Mike sent it
he's
to me.
certainly not listening, but
I think he throws on the free episode once in a while.
yeah, exactly.
He sent it to me and he was like, go to I know it's minute 14 to minute 16
Yeah.
of the video.
Yeah.
And Bob Geldof says to George Harrison, have you heard the new Neil Young album, Arc Weld? It's, the famous...
Kind of sounds like Art Wells a
Yeah.
little bit. Do you think that's deliberate? Like the festival in Wells?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Not sure. But
really
side
regional,
B is...
really regional kind of thing there.
Yeah.
Kind of feels like you guys out there in London. Have you ever heard of Art Wells fucking festival in Cornell?
Shakespeare in the Park kind of
Kind of similar thing. Yeah. Yeah, but George Harrison has
And
some real issues with live Russ. Russ never sleeps.
Says it's all feedback on the side too,
Oh,
and
about
George said-
Weld, yeah.
And,
Well, it's
and-
Bob
and-
Geldof talking, so he says,
Yeah,
it's
he's a
all
bit of an
feedback
Irish,
on.
Bob Geldof. He says it's all feedback.
He loves it. No, he's not from Somerset, though, so I don't know why I'm doing this voice.
It's all feedback, And he says it's just wonderful stuff, George. And George says, I've never been a fan.
Never since the
I've
60s.
never been a fan.
I was never a fan.
I've never been a fan.
But it's interesting.
And he
it
says,
takes
well,
a
and
real
Geldof
turn.
and Geldof just says, well, some of the lead guitar playing, though, I mean, it's just brilliant.
George.
It's just brilliant. And George says, I hate it. I hate it.
I hate it. I was once on stage with Eric
At Bob's.
We did Bob's 30th anniversary.
Knocking on Heaven's Door.
Knocking whatever it was. It was very a blues sort of
kind of
thing.
reverse blues.
And we did a song, and I looked over at
Eric.
Eric. He says
He was
I looked
having
over at
sex
Eric
with
and I
my
said,
wife at the
what's
time.
going on?
Yeah.
Neil
Not
did
the Marvin style.
Neil did a
either.
solo, and I said, "What's going on,
Yeah.
Eric?"
It came, which was number 47 on my Pitchfork review.
But George goes on to say that
He says that Neil Young's guitar's good for a laugh.
Yeah, he says, it's good for a laugh. It's insane.
Yeah. But then he won't even stop there. He's like, and he starts imitating his voice like he's disabled or something. Be like, and then Crosby, Stills and Nash, they're so talented and young.
And young.
Yeah.
Whereas to us, the and young's the only good part.
Well, I mean, on the Laurel Cake, that kind of more almost. It confirms that he's like a folkie, and he's like Ashram Swami kind of Persian rug love philosophy,
Bullshit.
which is. Well, listen, he's in Joni's side. He's on Joni's side of the
That's
canyon,
what we
buddy.
thought, man.
He's on Joni's side of the canyon.
I'm telling you, I was crushed. Okay,
yeah.
I was crushed when I saw this video, and I'm serious. Like
I know it ruined
Neil,
you 2
George are my
days.
top 2 guitarists.
Yeah. Well,
And
maybe
to
that's
hear that
it.
one hates the other.
Cutthroat businessman.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think it just goes to show that George was just like so isolated as a Beatle, maybe that he just like didn't get it or something.
Yeah.
Like Dylan, he's like, okay, he's another like top,
Yeah.
like top of the craft.
Yeah.
like
yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
So I can hang with him.
Yeah.
But Neil, these guys, anybody below
Mm-hmm.
Neil, all these other people, he's like, not really into it. Don't
So
know
where
what
does
it-
Petty fall in?
Well, they
Jeff
got
Lynne?
together, I guess, because Petty toured with Dylan.
You know that Joni was on the Rolling Thunder tour,
Yep.
so she
Very
was
cool.
there too.
Well, everybody loves Joni.
Everyone was there, man.
Everybody
Everyone
loves-
loved Joni too.
What are you getting at?
Well, I'm
here?
just saying, everyone got a piece. That's all I'm saying.
Everyone got a piece of James Taylor, and for
James
some
Taylor,
reason,
for sure.
the women loved
They
him.
loved him.
He seems like I was telling Alex this, and she said that he seems like such a kind of like white bread, kind of like nerdy dude, but he must have had something.
Junkie. He's like that guy. We all knew a guy who was like, at the bar. It's kind of like, so we got the Pitchfork guy at the bar, and he's like velvet blazer, talking about Wire and like why Marquee Moon's better than What's Going On for political reasons somehow.
Right.
And he's reading Ulysses.
And James Taylor's just kind of
Well, James Taylor's the guy at the bar who like is like, he's also at the bar in
He's
your
like,
20s.
"Whatever, man."
And people are kind of like, yeah, but like he's like a closet junkie, and it's kind of like that's attractive. It's like, whoa, there's a darkness there. That it's something I can't have.
Mm-hmm.
James Taylor was like he was in love with something else.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and he's a junkie on the folk scene. So he's not like a junkie like Jim Morrison, who's just like, I will take anything you give me. Like I am Mr. Mojo Rising. Kind of.
Yeah.
So I'm in the soul kitchen,
Yeah.
What's going on in the Hyacinth house? Everything you can imagine. And cheeseburgers. But James Taylor's like a soft-spoken, lovable guy who also is in pain. And that's the kind of blue vibe, right? Mm-hmm. That's the blue vibe. That's the Joan. It's like the confessional singer-songwriter who's even his songs aren't enough to get him through. He still needs to turn to the old laughing lady.
It's true.
So true.
I mean,
He also was a handsome fella in his day.
yeah, I'm not a fan of his music anymore, but I was. I'd be curious to do like Sweet Baby James
We'll do
or
it
something
next
and listen
because
to
we're
it
kind of
again.
in the Laurel Canyon folky scene.
Yeah,
and
I'd like to stick around.
We've left, the soul kitchen, and now we're in the we're in the kind of the rug room. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's where we are now. I was thinking about certain things. I had a dream the other night, and I was kind of thinking about this revelation of like vampires on one side of the canyon and folkies on the other. And I started in my dream asking you, like, just kind of like naming an artifact and you deciding which side of the canyon it was on.
Is that right?
Yeah. So I remember a few of them from my dream.
I'll answer.
First one was canned food.
That's vampire because they
kinda
party
canned
all the
food
time.
lifestyle.
You can't cook.
Yeah, you don't have time
You just
to
eat like whatever's around.
I'll just eat that.
Yeah.
Canning food.
Folky.
Though. It's super folky. Yeah, just like kind of preserves.
You have time. Yeah.
You have time. You're
dedicated.
on the land.
Yeah.
Canned heat.
That one's hard.
It's tough. I think folky. Going back to country, kind of got a bluesy feel.
Pretty bluesy, pretty rockin'. They are Woodstock though. Like I guess I'll go put them in the folk category.
What about Cannery Row
for this? Cannery Row? What is that?
Like the Steinbeck book.
Oh, I don't know it. Folky, obviously.
Yeah. Like the canyon. I mean, I'm just thinking of words that have can in them, I guess.
Oh, canyon. Yeah.
Candles?
Obviously. These are all folky.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What about what was that girl, the Canadian woman from Sex and the City called?
Sarah Jessica.
No, the Canadian one. Alex?
I don't know any of them. Sorry.
You know, she's
I don't know.
you know who she is. Kim Cattrall. Kind of
She's a total vamp.
She's a vamp for sure, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a vamp. 100%.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
like
But
I
like,
like
good
when,
for her.
when you were doing some more
Like people.
actors and stuff.
Oh, actors.
you
Okay.
know?
Yeah, sure, I can
Yeah,
do that.
like obviously Nicholson's a vampire.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think they're all vampires. Those guys. Robert Redford.
No, he's kind of I guess so. Like I think
Well, he's kind of in. What's the one where he like? What's the movie where he's like? A real famous one where he's like, 3 Days of the Condor, where he's kind of like he takes hostage of. It's a great movie. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of got a bit of a. It's kind of got a Clute vibe. I mean, that's Tin Pan Alley. That's earlier. They're in New York and stuff.
You know what I always say about Blue when I'm talking to my friends?
Do you say it's bluer than blue?
I say, you know what? Joni Mitchell's voice is really just like a paintbrush on a canvas, creating all the colors life has to offer.
Is that what you say?
Yeah, I always say that.
That is so true. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know what I say when
people ask me about it, that's what I say.
When people ask me about it, you know what I say?
What?
I say the iconic instrument of Blue is the Appalachian dulcimer. It's the first sound heard on the record and appears in Carey, California, and A Case of You. And actually, Joni herself once described her emotional state during the making of Blue as a cellophane wrapper on a pack of cigarettes, which I think is
You always say that.
Personally, I think it's a lovely image of a translucent fragility that's carried in the sparkling timbre of the dulcimer. That's what I say.
Yeah, just the other day, somebody was asking me about the album Blue by Joni Mitchell.
Yeah, what did you say?
And I said to them, I said, Joni Mitchell? I said, when my husband told me that they gave Bob Dylan a Nobel Prize, I said, they better give Joni one next.
That's so true.
Said.
That's what you've been known to say.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, if depending on the crowd, if someone talks about Joni Mitchell's Blue, I point out how similar the album cover is to Otis Redding's album Blue.
Interesting.
And say, I've always considered, Otis Redding's Blue to be the definitive Blue.
What is the definitive Blue album?
Probably Picasso's Blue period.
Right.
I'd say is probably the most. Or Klein Blue. That was kind of a cool blue. Blue Monday. There's a new blue.
What's more seminal? Joni Mitchell's Blue.
Yeah.
Kind of Blue by Miles Davis.
Yeah.
Or the Blue Album by Weezer.
I mean, That's going to take some
Or
unpacking.
the song I'm blue,
Which people don't realize is actually an outtake from the A&M sessions
right.
that they did. But
Kind
yeah,
of
I never
scat.
got round to talking about like Stephen Stills playing bass on Carrie, which I didn't know until today, and I listened to it, and it does kind of give it a Gree Gumbo Ya kind of
Makes
like
sense.
Latinx kind of like Puerto Rico military bass feel, which he is really interested
Cultivated
in.
perfectly.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's all about
And
the
made
way
a lot of money off of
it's the way he it's the use of his
hammer-ons. Yeah.
it's the use of his right hand. Actually, it's the use of his right hand. The way he hammers. Carry On was going to be called Hammer On. The song.
Really?
Yeah, based on his technique. And some people actually still call it that, but it's more visible in Black Queen.
Who plays guitar on California?
James Taylor.
Because that's really nice guitar playing. I was listening to it last night. Very classic kind of Joni
Yeah.
and the dulcimer on the right and James Taylor in the left.
Yeah.
Really good guitar playing. Loot. Some nice licks.
Yeah.
And the chord changes, picks up on it perfectly. I think he's a pretty good guitar player.
I've heard he's pretty good. I mean, given that Fingerpicking had just come out.
well, that's
that
definitely
time.
a pick on
Yeah.
that one, I'd say.
Yeah,
I would
so
say.
true. Do you think it's funny that people think A Case of You is just about Canada because it says the word Canada
Yeah,
in
but
it?
that makes you feel special, doesn't it?
A little bit.
Every time you hear it.
That she like kind of goes into the national anthem for no reason.
Yeah, but it's also she's just missing Canada or something.
I guess she's actually just drawing a map of Canada with this guy's face in the middle of it.
sketched
but
on it twice. It's the most beautiful.
That's her.
The opening lyric is so good.
That's her getting into her like Pistorius, like Jocko, like I'm fed up with rock and roll, fed up with these musicians.
That's how I feel, man. Where's
I've
that
fucked
at?
my way
Do
through
you
them
want me?
all.
I'll be in the bar, man.
Yeah, that's what she says.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. She's fucked them all. She's fed up with it. There's nothing left to gain from it, and she's just like, I'm gonna move to Vegas and start playing. Oh, back up here. She moved back, literally right back up to the Sunshine Coast, kind of like halfway to Arts Wells.
Well, she said, I recently read, she said, L.A. is my workplace.
Yeah.
But B.C. is my heartbeat.
Oh wow. Yeah. Okay. Well,
And
I can relate to that.
that's
'cause if
kinda how
could
I
be
feel, too.
100%.
Yeah.
Dude, I'd be in LA right now if I could.
Well,
be.
if I could split time, just work down there and then come back here and kick it, that'd be kind of my perfect life.
Yeah,
If I could
I've
pick a
tried
perfect
to do it a few times.
Yeah, if I could just like
Yeah.
like spend the time down there, like doing all the stuff we do,
Yeah.
and then come back up here just to recharge. Like
Yeah.
I recharge in a different way than Tiger Woods or somebody like that.
How does he recharge compared to you?
Well, I don't know if anybody saw part 2 of the Tiger documentary, but one of his female companions that he frequented
Yeah.
said that Tiger said to me that before a tournament, being with me was like plugging in and recharging
yeah.
so that he could go out
I
and
kind of-
dominate on the golf course.
And dominate in the bedroom.
Well, he always dominated in the bedroom. That's
Yeah.
kind of a sort of unspoken running theme
Oh,
throughout the
okay.
Tiger thing. Is they're all kind of like he was a tiger in the bedroom.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's poetic.
Well, he obviously had a lot of stamina.
Yeah.
Because
Well, I mean, you've seen the way he behaves on the golf course. I got to say,
it's all the same. They talk about his performance on the golf course, his Navy SEALs training.
Yeah. It's a military based kind of thing.
No. He gets into it to the point
Like
that he was about
trained
to
to be in the bedroom like by
he
the
was
by
about
the
to give up on
Marines.
golf and join the Navy SEALs. His dedication,
Yeah.
his golf playing,
Yeah.
and his bedroom performance, it
Yeah.
was all the same amount of like energy,
Zeal.
for domination,
Yeah.
or something. He got the same like energy release out of all of it, like ego fulfillment.
Uh-huh. I
That's
like
what I'm
that.
trying to say.
I think that Joni. Can you imagine? I'm just trying to figure out how to get back into Joni from this.
Sorry, yeah.
No, dude, it's fine. I know you're like fired up. You watched it. I'm just
was
like,
amazing.
I'm in love with Joni, right? Like 70s Joni, like beautiful woman.
Top one, probably
top
the
five?
top like babe of the time.
Of the time. There's only like 3 women who are allowed to even be musicians, as you pointed out
Chrissy
earlier.
Hind is a big crush of
Chrissy
mine.
Hind, but that's like a different era.
Later 70s.
Yeah,
77.
she married your hero.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So you're probably happy for him.
Oh, that was great. I love Chrissy Hind.
What about like
Kate
Laura
Bush,
Nyro?
later,
I
too.
mean, later Kate Bush or
No,
early?
I
Early
mean,
Kate
but,
Bush.
No, but I mean, that was a bit later than Joni.
Now we're on the Pitchfork thing again. We're like in the late 70s.
Yeah, I know. Well,
Like Wuthering Heights.
I'm trying to think of
Kate Bush?
Stevie Nicks.
Yeah, late 70s. Cokie.
74. So, you know,
Sure.
then Buckingham
Yeah, it's true.
Nicks. Right?
Rhiannon. Yeah, Rhiannon.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Crystal Vision.
Yeah. I don't know. What are we doing?
Laura Nyro. Linda Ronstadt.
I like Laura.
I like Linda.
I wouldn't say she's that I've had a crush on her in my time.
What about the chords that she uses?
Well, they're sexy for sure.
Yeah. Magic, I hear. Magic chords. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. But Joni, yeah, there's something.
Do you think that she's like, why do you think she's not as revered in a kind of more like in a kind of like, well, maybe she is. I guess like people like, I think people maybe think that like,
is very revered.
oh, well, I know that. And I can tell you that I got into Joni. I actually was reading an interview with Bjork about Joni Mitchell, and I completely related to it because Bjork was like, I got into Joni Mitchell, and we've talked about this with Neil Young, like in an accidental way because I had no access point to it. So with Joni, like, of course I could have found someone who was older than me to ask them like which is the correct records to listen to, and obviously it'd be like, well, Blue's the best one, like in terms of like a singular piece of work. And also maybe the most formally like her record. But, you know, there's also like, if you like that, you'll like For the Roses, and you'll probably like the like
Court and
Clouds. Court and Spark is a bit like kind of a poppy version of her, like where she got the full band in. But I totally did it wrong. Not wrong, because I think this is like, I think these records are insanely good. But the first Joni records I listened to were Hajira and The Hissing of Summer Lawns, and even like Mingus. So, and Shadows and Light. And those records, I'd never heard anything like it. And I read a thing that an interview with Prince saying, and he probably was talking about this in the early 80s. I didn't check when he said it, that The Hissing of Summer Lawns was the last record he enjoyed front to back, just like listened to front to back as just like this like crazy record, you know?
I love that stuff.
Yeah.
And
I think she starts it. I think that she starts that stuff on Blue, but what I was going to say is, why is like, when people think of like the folky female energy, they sort of go towards the occult version, which is like Stevie, right? Like the later occult rock and roll version of that. Joni's not kind of revered in the same way. I even just mean as like a beacon of like feminine energy.
perhaps, but I think she is revered as a songwriter.
Oh, big
well
so
above
Stevie.
all of those people.
Well, I mean, who's better in her generation?
No, but
Period.
I mean, we're talking about like, you know, a lot of lists that will tend to favor men and things like that. I would say that Joni is more revered as a songwriter and respected than like a Paul Simon, or
Okay.
that I think for me Dylan is kind of regarded at the top.
He's in the so we're in the top echelons.
Yeah, and it's so funny because I read a lot of this on message boards last night because I
On
couldn't
Steve
believe
Hoffman.tv.
Yeah, exactly. SteveHoffman.tv.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Gear sluts, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. And there was a lot of debate about the top echelon of songwriting.
Is that word's important too?
Songwriting.
Echelon.
Yeah, American songwriting.
The Great American Songbook.
And people were kind of saying, this is absolute bullshit. Joni Mitchell doesn't get any credit as being a good songwriter. Everybody will mention, Paul Simon and all these people way ahead of her. And then right away, a lot of responses were actually, if you look around, Joni is kind of number 2. When you really, as like in the canon of American songwriting,
she's number 2.
Dylan,
Canadian though.
Yeah, but she's American. She's California.
Yeah.
I want to see those folks I did.
But most people's,
I'll even kiss a sunset pig.
That-
California, I'm coming home.
oh man, yeah.
Dude, I wish I could go there, man, right now. Dude, what would you do if you could go there right now?
Probably just kick it down at Liberty.
Yeah?
Luke, not much I could do.
No, like if it was like no COVID.
Oh. Yeah, I was looking at.
Get one of those pizzas
I've been writing
with a
down
rainbow.
all these bars.
Sign a deal. I'd pay someone to come and pretend to sign me at the Rainbow.
That'd be cool. We could go to the Rainbow. It's so funny that
That'd be more of a vamp thing.
And anybody who thinks that that listens to this podcast must think I'm the slowest reader because I've been nursing my way through this Harry Nilsson autobiography.
Yeah,
or not autobiography.
Page you
it's
on
about,
now.
And I don't know. But
7.
I've been making, because I just love it so much, I've been making a list of all the bars they mentioned in LA.
Yeah.
And so I'd want to check some of them out. But the problem is that when I look them up, most of them are closed.
Yeah.
There's one called Martoni's.
Okay.
It looks so cool.
Sophie's family are real good.
I like
for
going to
this
those
stuff.
places. I like going to El Coyote.
Yeah. Dresden.
Formosa. Dresden.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dantana's,
Yeah.
I like the oh god, I'm blanking on it. On Hollywood, Frolic Room. The old
Okay.
Bukowski
I
joint.
like Barney's Beanery, man.
Yeah, Barney. That's West Hollywood. It's a bit far.
I'm fucking into all that shit.
But
man.
Dantana's is out there
Go
too.
to
so
Pache.
that's a different zone if you wanna.
Go to the Canyon store, Blue Jay Way. I mean, we can go look around in Wonderland. We can have a real good time out there. We could probably just go house to house and be like, anyone left? Mm-hmm. Is anyone still here?
Well, that's what I mean. But if
Yeah.
I was down there now, yeah, I'd just be down at Liberty, just kind of
Yeah.
probably watching some Van Damme with Luke.
Yeah. Maybe a taco zone.
Taco Zone, some of those
Tall,
12 ounce
yeah. Oh, just
Miller
12.
High Lifes.
Yeah, champagne, really, isn't it? Mm-hmm. I'd like to do, when that border opens, I want to do a tour. Seattle, like kind of like a...
Podcast tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the first thing I want to do. I want to get down. Let's go to Seattle. Maybe even go like to Anacortes. See if Phil Elverum wants to do.
Well, I'd like to
an
go. I'd
episode.
like to do the podcast in the places that have a lot of the energy
Yeah,
that we're trying
charged
to
up.
absorb.
Yeah.
Like the place that Quincy played jazz in Seattle.
Or like Frasier was filmed.
Yeah, or where Frasier
Yeah,
was
because
filmed,
it's kind of like a Niles. It actually wasn't filmed there, but unfortunately, hot
Doesn't
take.
matter.
But maybe like kind of like, or we could certainly go to like the Microsoft offices. Paul
Definitely,
Allen,
exactly. Well, yeah, the rock and roll experience.
the EMP
yeah.
project, but also just like where Paul Allen, like his office.
Man, if
We could ask to do an episode in like Paul Allen's office, or like where Bulmer, Paul Allen used to get together and talk about, I don't know, like jamming.
We should just get like some like headset mics
Yeah.
and do one in the EMT museum.
It's
and
not
just,
even that's actually a plate.
what the hell is it
reverb.
called?
The EMP,
EMP.
Experience Music Project. You can remix Crosstown Traffic in there. I've done it.
Yeah, well,
You got there's
We
there's
just
eight,
walk
eight
around-
tracks. One of them is a juice harp or like a comb harmonica or whatever.
Huh.
One of them is that. It's like
how'd
drums.
your
on-
mix sound?
Well, I was like
Better
18,
than the original,
18
right?
when I did it, but it was certainly
better.
it competed.
Yeah.
It was up there.
Yeah.
Well, I had my Universality of Satellite, so I was.
Well, you probably couldn't use a lot of the gear then. That was,
Well, I have like a pretty good, like a lot of DSP on it. So,
Right.
yeah. So I was using some of the Ocean Way like room simulation,
Kind of providing
stuff.
a new
Well, I wanted to hear
take
Jimmy on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Recording on the West Coast.
yeah. Well, he grew up in Vancouver a little
We
bit.
could do one at Nora Hendrix's house. That's actually a good idea.
At his mural or whatever.
Well, there is that house there. You can get inside it.
Oh, yeah.
We could ask. We could probably petition to get inside that house.
Petition.
Yeah. There's a riot going on.
Say we demand it.
Student demo. Well, we demand it for
like a student
demonstration kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beach Boys. You ever heard of them?
Yeah.
Yeah. Surf's Up's the only record I know.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Oh,
I've
Pet
only
Sounds. I heard.
I get most of my music information from Pitchfork Media.
Pitchfork Media Group conglomerate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Based in Greenpoint, Brooklyn.
I think it's Chicago, but
Oh, really?
Chicago was the Greenpoint of the 2000s.
I thought they were in Brooklyn.
Listen, it's all the same shit, man.
Whatever.
I stopped listening when Clap Your Hands Say Yeah, I got a 10.
I stopped caring about Pitchfork when they reviewed Arcade Fire's not Neon Bible. What was the one that came after Neon Bible? It was called like
The Suburbs.
No. That was like
Everything Now.
It came after Neon Bible. Like it was called like Hologram. No, it was like
It's It's like the record I just put out.
Yeah.
It's called like Incinerator or Invigorator or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that
something like
one. Yeah,
And
Deflector maybe.
Reflector.
Yeah. It's pretty.
And
good,
they did a
actually.
review of Reflector.
Yeah.
And I read it, and it was like 9.5 out of 10. I listened to the record. It was the worst thing I'd ever heard.
That's the one that sounds like Scary Monsters, right? Like it like literally sounds like Scary Monsters. If you listen to them, they're the same record.
Right. And one of the lines...
Which is one of my favorite 80s records of all time.
What's the best?
It's certainly the best. It's certainly better than
best.
Let's Dance. Never heard that.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you could make an argument for, I don't know, like Roxy Music.
Not Avalon.
No.
Remake, remodel, maybe.
No, that's in the 70s. That's in the 70s.
Okay.
I was thinking like Fire and Blood or something.
Okay,
That's
sure.
probably very underrated.
The Psycho Mondo.
There was an album. There was a line in the review of Reflector.
2-word
that
review.
It says, it's as though Win Butler has taken Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen and Scary Monsters by David Bowie and cast them into the fire in order to make new shapes from the smoke. And I read that.
That is
and I
so
said,
true.
well, this magazine's a real shit sandwich.
It's a goddamn impossible way of life. Let me tell you. Welcome to our music review podcast. Let's just end it there.